This is for you, Emily. Riffing off of what Mary Jane just said, do you think there's a way for you to come to terms with marrying the external and internal guiding forces in your art? Just out of curiosity.
I think there is. I think that throughout this, I struggled with my level of expectation for myself versus the level of expectation for the class, and I am really excited to revisit like everything for this class. So I feel like that's what I am wanting. That's the unattainable for me right now, and I feel like there's a lot of working through. It still has begun to get there though.
Any other questions?
We're the last group today, I think. You could just have it.
Bring it on, folks.
Bring it
Audience
on.
needs to be more active.
Yeah. You wanna? I'm a Sagittarius.
Well, and this, all three of you guys again seem to have a correlating thing of working through the projects and processes. Was that something that you guys came to as being a doppelganger, or was the randomness that just somehow you guys came together with your mindsets?
I think it's really fun because we didn't come to any of that together necessarily, not that we didn't talk about it, but there's an accident that we all, or at least Mary Jane and I, have the theme of accident. That's kind of funny.
He kept talking about accident. I kept coming in on him, like, doing his shaman thing, and I was like, but he kept talking about accident. And he's like, I'm reading all this stuff about accident right now, and I was like, and then my toe got crushed, and we had to talk about stuff.
You were like, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. I channeled Boss just a little too hard.
Mary Jane's crying on the phone. I'm going, this is awesome. This is exactly.
Yeah, actually, and Alec was nice enough to pick up my ID card, go to Evergreen, grab the camera, and bring it back to me the moment after my foot got hurt. So
What a guy.
doppelganger. But yeah.
Kathleen?
Go ahead. Emily, just hold on. Go.
Can you, Alec, talk a little bit more about what it means to make an intelligent accent?
Yeah, the article I read was really interesting. I guess for me, it's about getting out of my own way and thinking that first of all, that I can have an idea and then bring something in reality to meet that idea is sort of ridiculous to me, just for me, I've realized. And that so the other way to go about it is to do, move, make, and then notice and look. And that's in Mary Jane's too, where she noticed what had happened. And except in my case, the blender didn't fall. I had to push the blender and like see how the pieces fell. But I'm really, the less control I have, it's almost the better the more it's not about me, and it's just about the way things fall.
Is it a lack of control, or is it like displaced control? Control from like after the fact?
I feel like there's always, when you like, I don't want something heavy. When you put out energy, there's momentum. If you follow the momentum, you often find an intelligent accident. It's like when you're dancing and you move slowly, you can feel the way your weight shifts, and you know to fall with what arm or what leg to make it flow still. It's like you have to feel the weight and where it's carrying you instead of just directing it very stiffly,
Well, and that's one thing that I took from Alec and his process was that he never stopped moving and making. And where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm just gonna stop, and like he's just constantly going. And I think that's how those things, you come upon those, and you can use them and you can find them. It's just that he doesn't stop.
But your question, I mean, I think there's an element of me being a scientist and what happens if I do this, which is sort of like not, I forget exactly how you worded it, but it's sort of a, right, well, is it accident in the universe, or is it my controlled accident, or both, or I don't know the answer to that. Yeah.
Okay, this is for Mary Jane. I was wondering, because I know throughout this quarter, especially during conceptual art time, we had a lot of discussions about what makes up conceptual art, and you talked about realizing your art after the fact, after you've done it. And I was thinking about your performance and if it was all intentionally placed performance or if you had any unintentional or unrealized performance during your process for this final work.
Oh, well, if there was unrealized performance, well, the performance was created once it was realized. There was an audience, and I was the mom, and I couldn't leave, you know. And then to be a non-site of my mother, to have her direct me in dressing my own wound, I feel like I was trying to bring us together, and then I had to fall into it. And it was more the moment of realizing that I was performing, and not so much the other way around, you know.
I feel like through a thread that runs through all three of your guys' things is like this feeling of being present, but it looks really differently for all three of you, and I'm wondering if one or all three of you can talk about what that means to you in terms of artistic process. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for me it makes sense. If I'm not present, I don't get lost down some weird train of, like, I built the altar, and I was really lost in that, in my own, but that something came out of that. So being present allows me to get lost, and in getting lost, I get down a wormhole. I'm like, whoa, how did I get here? I pull back, and then I learn something because I've gone there. And I'm like, well, I don't need to do it that way. Whatever I learn, if I'm constantly looking to this thing I want it to be, it's different.
Also, for me, the desire to be more in my body is literally just like desire to be present in my body. And I think that struggling with like severe anxiety is one of the things that has like always compelled me to make art, but also always compelled me to try and find ways to bring myself back inside of my body. And that's why I try and find everything in a single pose, and why like I like try and find how to like displace identity or displace like mother's weight on my body is because of that desire to be present. And yeah, I think that the anxiety and the wanting to say everything at the same time are very connected. Yeah.
Did you want to add to that?
Oh, yeah. I think I have definite anxiety fueling my process as well, but I think it's on the contrary to Mary Jane's. I think it's more like so much internal, and it's like, how do I get this out? And I think now I've learned that I can get it out. It's paring down those important pieces in the whole, less is more aspect. So I think that's where I'm working through at this point.
Yeah, the thing I'm really aware of as you're all talking and through your presentations is this idea of being present, so to speak, seems to go back to something that we, I think we get from art and then have kind of expanded and made our own in different contexts since the fall, which is this idea that if you work, this idea of working, just actually making things or just sitting down, then you prepare yourself for the opportunity when something happens that's right and you can see it. You prepare yourself to be able to see it. And that seems to be very much about what it means to learn how to pay attention. And really, I'm thinking a lot about the word attention and about paying attention. And the paying attention isn't just about being vigilant like this, right? It's actually, it's a very different kind of state. It can look different to different people, but it's not like this. It's often actually knowing the thing that's over here or behind you. But there's something about becoming a better antenna, it's the way I can think about it, a receiver of. And there's nothing, I mean, it sounds esoteric, but there's actually nothing very mystifying or mystified about that. It really is about you can do real things in order to become the antenna, right? It's not about someday I'm going to become the antenna, which is your refusal of the shaman role. It's like this is not some mystical process, right? This is about things, the world, me, doing things in time.
Yeah, and it's still magic about having that mystery too. You know, I mean, there's nothing mystical.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think the doing is, for me, I just have to keep doing.
Right.
And maybe you do need to pretend to be a shaman to do that sometimes, right? Kind of suspension of disbelief, right? We have to project ourselves forward as though we could prophesy what's about to come, that what you can.
Whatever it takes.
Or even the energy, just the energy that gives me for a day to keep working is worth it.
I feel like I remember Dave saying a lot last quarter about that. You don't want to be something about the like.
Let the muse find you working.
Yes. Let the muse find you.
Let the muse, I remember that too.
I was gonna be like, when you're sitting, and then there's like a muse bus that's gonna come by.
Not waiting with a bouquet of flowers, right? Yeah, right.
In response to this, I have a paragraph that didn't make it into my presentation.